Yo, what's up, friends? It's Ninja back with you again with another episode focusing on emulation, showing kind of what we can accomplish with an old PC with a 4-core processor, a half-decent video card, and a little bit of RAM. We'll continue where we left off before to where we're still running the same machine specs that we were before, which are mentioned in the comments on the video. Check that out if you're interested. But we're running an old LGA 1156 platform with a older R7 Radeon architecture video card and some 1333 DDR RAM. And we're getting pretty good results out of it. We're showcasing some videos to kind of show a little bit about what we can accomplish with this box. But I also wanted to start incorporating a little bit of more of a review of the game that we're playing and give you some additional info before we just kind of jump head on into showing you the game and what we can do. Today we're going to focus on a game called the Nomad Soul, and it was developed by Quantic Dream, published by Eidos Interactive, and written and directed by David Cage, with 10 unique music songs composed by David Bowie and Reeves Gabrels. The Nomad Soul, which was renamed Omikron, the Nomad Soul in the US, was released in late 99 for Microsoft Windows, and in summer 2000 ported over to the SEGA Dreamcast. All in all, the game sold more than 600,000 copies worldwide, and more than 400,000 plus copies were sold in Europe alone. So it did fairly better in Europe than it did in the USA and other places that it sold. PlayStation port was planned to be released in late spring of 2000, but was canceled after about 70 to 75% of it had been completed, and the plans were also canceled for ports for the PlayStation 2. A sequel was actually planned to the game, but was canceled by David Cage in favor of getting to work on other projects like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls for the PlayStation 3. And if you had a chance to check out either of those, I think both of those were awesome as well. So, congrats, David, for that. But we would have liked to see a sequel for the Nomad Soul. It was a really interesting game with some unique features that other games didn't have available at the time, and was kind of an eye-opening experience for players when the game was released. But the Nomad Soul is an action-packed single-player adventure title, mostly played from the third-person perspective with a healthy mix of first-person arm combat and a side-on perspective hand-to-hand combat added in. The player is immersed into a futuristic cyberpunk-esque world, open world filled with NPCs, vehicles, open stores, offices, nightclubs, apartments, and many other locations that you can visit and explore. The game starts by invoking the player directly into the world of Phanon as you're contacted by a Kale 669, who's an Omicronian police officer who asks you to leave your dimension and enter his body through the Nomad Soul. After you do so, you play the game from the perspective of being in Kale's body when you first start out, and continuing on with an investigation around the city of Omikron of serial killings that Kale and his partner were working on at the time. As you continue throughout the investigation in the game, the player unlocks the mystery of the Nomad Soul and wages war with demons, desperately fighting to try to take over the government of Phanon in the city, and ancient lore as to the ancient beginnings of Omikron, and a battle that's been waging on over that for ages. So it's up to you, the player, to uncover the mystery of Nomad Soul while inhabiting up to about 40 different beings, trying to unlock the secrets held within the game and defeat the demons with different things like supernatural weapons before they capture your soul and you lose your soul forever. So let's kind of take a look at the game here. I'll have to start it with the audio off at first as we start the game, because there's a lot of, David Bowie music that plays throughout the game, and we'll try to prevent that so we don't get a few copyright strikes on the game. But let me bring that up and start that. Get that going for us. All right, there we go. So we'll start the game here first with no audio, and then as we get through where we actually get to kind of start playing in the open world, we'll turn the audio on and kind of show you what the game sounds like. It's actually got some unique sounds and audio to the game, but there's so much music in it. There's, only so much you can show on YouTube. So sorry, guys. So let's see. We will accept to enter Kale's body. And we will start our adventure here. So there's a little bit of kind of, multi-dimensional travel and, taking over other people's bodies and things like that, which is really cool. Which was something that wasn't really a concept, I guess, in games at the time. They just started kind of the open world type games in the late 90s with Grand Theft Auto 3 and a couple other titles like that. But this one kind of carried on in that form, giving a bunch of awesomeness in the world. But the graphics are definitely dated. Keep in mind that we are playing this on the Demul emulator for Dreamcast, and we're getting pretty good frame rates out of it. There are some parts of the game kind of where it slows down between 30 and 40 FPS, but for the most part, we've kind of got this game configured where it's locked, giving us 60 frames a second consistently, except in high impact areas where there's a lot of sprites and activities kind of happening at the same time. Which hopefully when, we upgrade our video card and we get to take care of those type things, it'll make a difference and we'll get a little better fluid performance out of some of this stuff. Because right now we have a sound card, which isn't going to make that much of a difference. It'll make some, but not a lot. We've got a new GTX 1050 Ti coming in. That'll replace our R7 that's a little bit faster. And then we've got a flash drive plan to replace the main hard drive, so it'll access and load things faster. And I will say that the controls on this game are extremely weird. It was at a point where, it's kind of reminds me of the Resident Evil type games. Where just the movement control was awful. And I find what the best thing to do is to just kind of run and then move left or right as you need to, because they're two different buttons. But here's where it kind of starts a sequence where it shows you kind of the intro credits of the game, shows you the developers, and it has some awesome music that plays. I'm sorry I can't play this for you guys right now because YouTube will kill me. But yeah, awesome job to Quantic Dream, David Cage, and the other designers and producers that helped work on this game. It's awesome. If you get a chance to play it on either platform, it's a much better game on PC. I will say that. It's a lot more fluid. There's a lot more screen content that's going on. You got a lot more better game because you have more graphic textures that can load because of the video card's got more memory than what like the Dreamcast had. So when they ported it from PC to Dreamcast, they lost some of the features, some of the scripting, some of the quests, some of the things that are in the game. For the most part, the game's mostly intact, but you can definitely tell a difference if you play both, starting with the PC first, then come over and play the Dreamcast one. You'll see that there's a huge difference there. But we're almost to the point where I can kick the audio on for you guys and let you listen to the game. But yeah, I mean, there's, lots of custom music and sounds that are in this game that are really just kind of futuristic, cyberpunk-esque. style music that's kind of a techno, but not really techno, because David Bowie sings along with it. So it kind of mixes pretty good. And if you just kind of start the game and you don't play it, and it's kind of sitting at the title screen and you wait, it's got some sequences that it'll play where it shows like it being in one of the nightclubs in the game, zooming the camera around the nightclub with the characters dancing and playing along with the David Bowie music. And it's a cool feature. You see a lot of stuff in games like that now, but this was one of the first kind of games that came out with something like that at the time, where they worked really closely with famous music producers and made some really custom stuff. Alright, so we should get to the point now where I can go ahead and kick the audio on for you guys. Alright, yeah. Alright, so we will kick that back off, and since I have it muted, if the music comes back on, I do apologize, because I cannot hear it on my side, since I don't have headphones at the moment. But yeah, let's check out this world a little bit here. And it's got some animated fixtures like that rotating kind of tower in the distance there. And I'll show you real quick. We will take a ride on the slider. And this first trip is a really short one, so it won't show us getting to drive in it, but whenever you go from a long distance, it's cool because it shows you actually kind of traveling around the city in the car. Let's see, we're going to go up here. And yeah, this is an awesome game, but we're playing this on an old PC, so if you have an old PC and you don't know what to do with it, consider setting up some emulation stuff on it now. I'm only kind of focusing and showing you guys games that I emulate that I actually own, but the reason I kind of doing this project is to really kind of see, what can I kind of get this machine to do. My kids and I, we own tons of consoles and, games and, cartridges out the wazoo that's in boxes and filled in closets and whatnot. So, but this is cool because it really gives an opportunity to shine and show, what can an old computer do. And alright, so we'll go around. I'll show you a couple of the sequences here. I haven't really played it that far on the Dreamcast, but it's got a lot of cinematic sequences. Some would be considered kind of PG-13 type stuff, where if you have little kids, you probably wouldn't want them watching that. Alright, so that's a bathroom. We're not going to use that. But you can interact with a bunch of stuff in the environment, that are containers and whatnot, like this. Oh, he doesn't understand. And you got stuff in your inventory that you can check out. Look, we can check out our police badge here and see, what it's about, which gives us a new address. So with getting that, we can now travel to that location in the little slider vehicles. And it's kind of cool because you have a little computer on your arm, you can call them. And I want to show you this real quick. You can practice combat. The one thing that's really cool about this game is the, you can tell that right now the game's in kind of a third person perspective, right? So as I move around, I'm always behind the character. Well, whenever you go into battle mode, which we will select easy so we don't get our butts kicked. But this game has a really unique kind of battle fighting side-on perspective that it goes into if you're unarmed, and then it goes into a first-person perspective if you're fighting armed. And let's see if I can kick this robot guy's butt. And there's a bunch of like combat sequences, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Mortal Kombat, but you can sidestep to the left and to the right, kind of like in boxing, but there's a bunch of different combo sequences you can do. And you can actually practice when you're at your house and some other locations, which is kind of neat. But there we go, I defeated the fake robot guy. Alright, so we came in from that side. Let's go this way, because there's another sequence we have to get. There's something that we missed somewhere. Something. Oh yeah, I gotta go in the kitchen, because something causes the lady to come back. But yeah, the movement of this game is really awkward, just like the Resident Evil games that were on early PlayStation, things like that. But these little rings are kind of your save spots, or where you can save the game. So I'll show you that real quick. I must have at least one magical ring. Did I forget to pick up the magical ring at the beginning in the alley? It looks like I did, because I was in a hurry. Well, oops. No save for me. But yeah, in this game, you're kind of taking over this Kale guy's body, right? So right now, you're from another dimension kind of playing this guy, and this lady has no idea who you are. So you can go through a bunch of kind of conversation, you know, different sequences here. And it kind of gives you some hints of where to go. But yeah, this game's pretty awesome. If you have an opportunity to play it, I definitely suggest it. You know, go back and play all the old stuff that you can't find, that you never got the chance to, right? You know, there's console games, PC games. You know, now some of the PC games you might have to have an older PC to actually play it on, with an older operating system running older versions of DirectX and things like that. But for the most part, I mean, you can really play a lot of PC stuff on a Windows 10 machine right now. And I wish that the movement in this game wasn't so awkward. When you're in the battle thing, it's fine, because you can just jump, move forward and backwards and stuff like that. But whenever you're trying to just move in the regular game, it's super awkward. Just like it is on Resident Evil, you know, you're like, no, go the other way. What are you doing? I'm not pressing that on the controller. It's the same type of experience with this. It's very odd. But yeah, this game was took, I think, about 2.5 years to complete development before they released it out into the market. And the guy started working on it, I think, the scripting, you know, 5 years prior to that. So it took him about 2.5 years to script it, you know, and pitch it to Eidos, which ended up, I think, signing the contract the next day after they saw, you know, how much development they put into the engine and the scripting for the game. They signed right on immediately, and then it just took time to, you know, to polish it and complete it. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of different places that you can go in the game. There's like 7 or 8 different locations in the city that you can explore, that all have little buildings you can go into, and rooms and things like that. But I don't want to show you too much, because I want you to get out and play this stuff, right? And know that, you know, I'm doing all this on an old computer that's, you know, 10 years old, you know, that I've just added, you know, pretty much maxed it out to whatever the max stuff you could put on that machine was, and then, you know, took it from there. So now I'm kind of in the game of, what can I get away with doing on this machine? What can I not get away with? What's it comfortable doing? What's it not doing? But that's, Omikron, the Nomad Soul, with awesome music from David Bowie and the Reeves guy, the guitar player. Man, some awesome guitar solos and that stuff. If you do get a chance, check it out. But that's what I got for you today. It still won't let me live stream. I got something goofy set up on my system, weird. I need to reinstall everything again or something, or YouTube has the streaming locked out on me right now. But I will speak to you guys again soon. Have a great day and take it easy. Bye, everyone.